Give me liberty or give me death. It's Alex Jones.
You're listening to the Alex Jones Show. I'm Alex Jones, your host. Here is months ago, Chucky Schumer threatening President-elect Donald Trump. You better do whatever we say, buddy, or we'll smack you upside the head. Because without the intelligence community, we wouldn't have the made-up Russian narrative. And now the Washington Post, he's hiding. They're hiding devices. I mean, I'm expecting they're going to claim that Trump's actually, wearing a Russian bug, down his throat or something. That's all made up baloney. And they never get in trouble. There's no consequences to any of this lying. Here's Chucky Schumer.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
I'll get you.
So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
What do you think the intelligence community would do if they were motivated?
I don't know, but I don't know.
Ask Jack Kennedy what they would do.
They are very upset with how he has treated them and talked about them. And we need the intelligence community. We don't know what's going to the Russian hacking.
We need
Without the intelligence community, we wouldn't have discovered it.
Roger, I want to be clear.
Discovered what, Senator? Do you have some proof of Russian hacking so you could produce it if you have something?
Why is Schumer not in Hollywood? He would be the ultimate psychopath, villain, child molester, kidnapper in Hollywood. I'm not saying he's a child molester. I'm not saying he's a kidnapper.
But he could play one.
He literally comes off as like, he could go back to the 1930s Wizard of Oz. I'll get you and your little dog. I'll get your Constitution, my pretty. No, go get them all. Take their children, destroy their economy, and get their guns. And that little president thinks he'll show them the way. Go to the Emerald City and burn it all down. Chucky Schumer, I'm so scared of you, Chucky.
That's pretty good. Chuck Schumer is one of the most odious individuals in the world. He has an inherent interest in knowing who the U.S. attorney is for New York, for the New York district.
We have an elite that just wants to piss on America because we're the alpha. Why don't the elite just get out of the way and end this? We can end this destructive conflict and bring order to the galaxy.
Chuck Schumer, the most dangerous place in Washington, Alex, is between Chuck Schumer and a television camera. I want to raise this question, though. Why is it that General Mattis, General McMaster, John Brennan, formerly of the CIA, Michael Hayden, former of the CIA, and James Clapper, why do these guys all have shaved heads?
Because that's part of being a leather daddy.
Is it some secret club or something that they're in? I mean, it is just, it defies, the odds of coincidence that every one of these guys have the same kind of look. There it is. Extraordinary. By the way, his smirk at the end of this kind of gives the whole thing away.
It looks like he could suck a golf ball through a garden hose.
Look at the way he smirks when it's over, thinking, wow, we pulled this off. Now my job might be safe for another couple weeks.
Sorry.
I mean, look, he is
Look at that.
Temperamentally not fit for this job, sadly.
God, I got to do that a little bit too much.
Well, the choice is, I mean, again,
these things must be done delicately.
The president needs to clean house.
Look at this guy.
I mean, he needs to clean house.
Possums like to climb into like dead animals on the side of the road.
The left is having a spasm. They're unhinged. They're acting like the president handed Putin the nuclear codes. I mean,
they're acting like Putin's, because they're the foreign globalists selling the country out, so they have to just then pick Russia and claim, oh, it's a foreign power, because they're the globalist foreign power, and Trump's kicking out the multinational pieces of garbage.
This is why I think the Russian collusion issue is going to be critical. This is how you break the back of both the mainstream media that has run with this and the intelligence services which have manufactured it. They have nothing. They have zero.
I agree. I want to come back and ask you the next shoe to drop, because you told me last night, and you said you talk about it on there. I mean, I think there's a good chance they'll bring Trump down. The problem is then that'll cause a civil war. These people are so crazy. They're so full of chutzpah, bravado, false confidence that, I mean, I know they all got Mr. Clean Shave. I'm not against people that have shaved heads, but there's a little something going on there. I guess because they put their heads before David Rockefeller died, like in his butt or something. I'm sorry, I'm going to stop. I'm out of control. I'm obviously trying to defeat the trolls right now. Roger Stone's with us, another segment that he's going to tape, a powerful piece, which is going to be Roger Stone Unchained. It's true flow, not an interviewer, but Roger in there absolutely annihilating the globalist. I'm Alex Jones, your host. And with the anti-villain Roger Stone over here, that's why they call him a villain, is it the fake news. We've got so much to break down here today. Coming up after Roger leaves us, globalist MAG claims American Revolution was a mistake. That's a close quote. I saw the Boston Globe a few years ago actually had a debate they hosted about getting rid of the Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence, and that it was wrong to secede from England. They narrowly voted, though, in the little contest they had to stay in America. So they're patriots, I guess. You just barely want to stay in America. But here it is. We could have been Canada. Was the American Revolution such a good idea? This is what we get from the New Yorker magazine that was saying that they're organizing the overthrow of Trump in Congress bipartisanly. And so because America, it has George Washington standing on top of a pile of chains and skulls, literally saying we're the devil. They're the ones claiming Trump's the enemy because he loves America. They're the anti-Americans, and they project who they are onto us. I just can't handle it anymore.
And the coming narrative for the globalists and the two-party duopoly, the political establishment, is Donald Trump is insane. It's not that he's crazy, it's that he has Alzheimer's, and it's in the advanced stages. This is nonsense. This is a lie, but mark my words, this is the new meme of the far left. This is the new meme of those who would essentially just depose him and remove him from power under the 25th Amendment.
Every time I've talked to Trump, he brings up something I said on the show or the last thing we talked about a month before. And it's just like, what are you even doing calling up, congratulating me that I got remarried? How'd you even know this? And the media around like, oh, Alex doesn't want Donald Trump. He doesn't want Trump on his show. No, it's the opposite. He's too important. He's too busy. I was like, sir, don't worry about it. He said he'd come on in a few weeks. I said, don't worry about it, sir. And then they turned that into, I don't want Trump. And I like backslapped him. Again, the opposite of reality.
He has a phenomenal memory. I've known him for 40 years. I see no evidence whatsoever that he is not as sharp as he has.
But Nancy Pelosi thinks Bush is still in office in 3 different interviews. And
Maxine Waters thinks Ukraine is part of Russia. So
worse than that. Well, it actually is. At least the east of it. It's worse. She thinks Putin invaded Korea.
That's correct. Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm ranting. Go ahead.
No, this is going to be a major drive by the left, Alex. They are going to try to now go for broke. Trump is insane, and he has to be removed.
By the way, I forgot to tell them, what's the name of the video? We'll pull it up. The one where they're claiming is he's listening to somebody that he has Alzheimer's. What's the name of the video? Trump signs of Alzheimer's, I think?
Yes, it is out yesterday.
So you guys pull it up. We'll play it in the background. Go ahead. Sorry.
Now, this is going to be a major thrust. For those who don't know how the 25th Amendment works, if a majority of the Trump cabinet and the vice president determine that the president does not have the mental capacity to carry out the duties of the job, he's removed. Now, if he seeks to fight it, it goes to the U.S. House of Representatives for a vote, where Paul Ryan would stab him right in the
by the way, Paul Ryan came out yesterday and said he wants answers and backed it up that Trump's a Russian agent. I am so sick of this Russian stuff. We're restoring the republic. We put $3 trillion in the stock market. You did, listeners. $300 billion in new jobs, securing the borders, returning the republic, rebuilding the military. UN funding, getting a conservative to the Supreme Court. If that's Russian, then I want to be under Russian rule. But it's not. It's people saying we don't want to be America, merge with world government, become socialist. Oh, but Trump's anti-American. No, they're anti-American. They're the plague. Sorry.
In the 1950s, they accused us, conservatives, of red baiting, of demagoguery. And
it was true. They were horrible anti-American filth, beavering away like termites.
But now it's a complete role reversal. Now,
but they weren't Russians. They were commies.
Exactly. And anyone who isn't for war over Syria with the Russians is now a Russian agent, a traitor to the United States.
The liberal New York garbage system took over Russia and turned it into that and has been trying to do us the whole time. It wasn't the Russians. The globalists captured Russia and used it as a tool to run around murdering everybody. Can't we see? And they want full control of this country.
You saw the left whining about the blacklist of the 1930s and again in the 50s forever. Now their blacklist that includes people like Alex Jones and other patriots.
It's a real blacklist.
It's a blacklist, which is based on circumventing the First Amendment and a free press in this
Let's
country.
just tell Soros, Brock, and all of them, we're beating you. You'll never defeat America. You'll never mount our head on the wall. Roger, join me. America will defeat you. Join me in this. Come on, Roger.
All right.
There you go.
David Brock, this is just for you.
Yeah.
We're having a good time here today.
You'll never defeat America. Sorry.
But this idea that the American Revolution...
No, you will. I'm sorry.
The idea that the American Revolution was a mistake, Alex, this is so elitist.
This
so
red-blooded freedom we got that everybody wants, that's not a mistake. You're a mistake.
The highest standard
Best
of living
part of you ran down the ass crack of your mother, Brock. Sorry, go ahead.
Look.
All right, I'm out of control. I apologize to Christian stations. I'm going to control myself. Because this country is in total war, and I'm sick of it. Go ahead.
Look, nobody's taken more of the brunt of this than I have. Look, I cannot wait to confront that preening, whining, pain in the ass Adam Schiff. This guy is the worst stiff I've ever seen. He makes George Bush look like a party animal. I mean, if you watch the guy, he is oozing insincerity. And in March, he said that he had seen conclusive evidence of Russian hacking, Russian interference in the election. And then in April, he said to Real Clear Politics, he had seen no evidence of Russian collusion.
I saw conclusive.
Schiff, what is it?
I saw conclusive proof that
this guy's so full of Schiff, his eyes are brown.
I was about to say. I mean, he is full of Schiff.
Indeed.
You have done well, Stone. Why do I feel so fired up right now?
Look, I have to assume the Democrats are afraid to face me. They keep saying they want me to testify, but there's no invitation. And I've made it clear I don't need a subpoena. Alex doesn't need a subpoena. They've accused him of being a Russian agent. When do we get our day in the court of public?
Can you imagine, like, the Russians trying to tell me what to do?
Well, or that they're financing all of these bots when it's David Brock and the Soros flying monkeys who have the bots out spewing hate, spewing dissension, spewing revolution against the American government and the U.S. Constitution. That's where we are.
I totally agree with you. Here's a breakdown of us last night. McMaster exposed as White House leaker. Here's a clip from our live feed about an hour after it came out with Roger and I. Here it is. So now they come out, and today, the Washington Post, and say anonymous source. They didn't say an anonymous source, says that Donald Trump's a good president or something. It's an anonymous source. He's in the meeting, and he starts giving him secrets about Al-Qaeda and ISIS in Syria. First off, we've been working with the Russians for 4 or 5 years, 3 years intensely to take out ISIS and Al-Qaeda. That's on the news. Secondarily, Trump's destroying them. It's Obama and Hillary that helped empower them and put them in charge. Trump's cleaning that up. So the claim that he's helping ISIS and Al-Qaeda is just horse manure. Everybody knows that. He's the one that exposed them, selling the oil, selling the organs. Roger's about to break this down. So I just had the instinct. I said, there's only 3 Americans in the room. And they're saying we won't say who else was in the room except for the 2 Russians. There's 5 people in the room, including the president. Who has the history of doing it? We've been fingering McMaster is even worse. Who has the motive? Who has the motive? He's about to be removed. McMaster's about to be removed. So now he's the savior from his own leak to the Washington Post that's incredibly corrupt with Jeff Bezos and run by deep state. He comes out. He then says, oh, the president didn't do this. I was there. It's made up. This is perfect to make him look good to the president, but I think Trump will see through it. I made phone calls to high-level folks. They said, that's the thinking right now. Then I met Roger about an hour ago for dinner. He said, I'm on the phone with the New York Times, other sources. He went and made the calls, came back, and said, that is what the thinking is right now. In fact, they know where the leak came from as an agency. So we've honed it down. Roger Stone's about to give you the exclusive. Did McMaster leak to then pose him as the savior so that Trump won't fire him? Roger Stone.
Alex Jones is essentially correct. First of all, it's important the American people know that this is completely false. Donald Trump did not divulge classified information to the Russians. If he spoke about the efforts by ISIS to use personal computers as bombs and get them onto airplanes, there would nothing be inappropriate about that. You can read about that in the newspaper.
6 months ago.
We know that the leak came out of NSA, and by process of elimination and looking at everyone who was in the room, there's only one man who has a motive. This is designed to make Mr. McMaster, General McMaster, indispensable and to stop the effort to remove him from his current job, kick him over to the Pentagon, and give him the 4th star. Interestingly enough, the military types don't want him at the Pentagon. I think the president, in his wisdom, will see through this, and it's time to send Mr. McMaster, General McMaster, packing.
All right. right, and that's just part of it. We should recap here, Roger, and then come back to one more segment, and then Dr. Grip's coming in here about what happened. This laptop with bombs inside of it that was already in the news. This is totally made up. For me, it's just crazy that they would be this brazen.
Well, but again, this couldn't have been possible if there wasn't a leak from the room. The president cannot get confidentiality out of his own government. He had the authority to tell the Russians this. He didn't divulge anything harmful to the United States. He is trying to foster a better relationship with the Russians, which is what peace is about. The left is supposed to believe in peace, but actually they're the ones who believe in war. And because people that the president has chosen are disserving him, the focus is completely wrong. The focus should not be on what the president did. The focus should be on who leaked this so they can be fired and prosecuted.
That's right. Roger, I want to come back and talk about the next shoes to drop, the new attacks they've got planned. I think we defeat them straight ahead. But they're all over the news saying, end America, join with Canada, join the world government, George Washington's bad. New Yorker magazine saying this now. These people literally hate America. They know we love America, so they use all this Trump's anti-America, hoping we get on some bandwagon. As they try to organize a coup against the president, it shows how desperate they are. We'll be right back, and we'll take your phone calls as well. Stay with us. You know, they have that line in The Hobbit where he says, or this is The Lord of the Rings, he says, you look foul, but you feel fair, whereas he looks fair, but feels foul. You got to worry about people that don't say they got villain in them, but say they're these little angels. They walk like an angel, they talk like an angel, but I got wise. They're devils in disguise. Chucky Schumer, Obama, they're all arrogant. They're all decided to wage war against the president, America. They hate this country. In closing, Roger Stone, before Dr. Grip comes in, thanks for coming to town. It's been amazing. I know you're going back tonight. How do we defeat this? How do we save this president? He's not going to be perfect. And if we abandon him, then the globalists could take him down even easier. So for me, it's a no-brainer. This guy's under attack because he's so real. And if we're idiots and don't back him to the hilt, then we deserve what we get.
This is a question of the president finding the levers of power. He has the power to control the leaks. He has the power to change the direction of the federal government. He has the power to change the direction of the federal judiciary.
But they're in mass mutiny.
But it's just a question of him finding the levers of power. Unfortunately, he has chosen a White House staff that doesn't have a clue, not a clue. And until he can get control of his own government and oust the Obama holdover appointees who are leaking like a sieve.
And isn't that paradoxical, though? He's doing a great job on his policies, but then he's doing horrible in who he brought in. Why?
Well, the people who are in charge of carrying out those policies essentially refused to do so because they were appointed by Barack Obama. Because no one in the Trump entourage knew that you had to have a plan in place immediately to position and place the assistant secretaries. You couldn't expect Trump to know this. He is not a veteran Washington politician.
Well, I studied it. I know that.
It's a shame he didn't choose a chief of staff who knew it, because this is the logjam. This is why we're having the leaks, because we don't have a Trump administration. We still have the Obama administration.
We need to start prosecuting those deputy secretaries.
Well, what we really need to do, if we're going to prosecute, if we want to send a signal to the base, if you want to send a signal to the American people,
lock her up.
Yes, absolutely. They need to impanel a grand jury and bring Bill and Hillary and Chelsea.
If anybody ever needed to go to prison from politics, it's that sickening, ugly, twisted, arrogant, entitled couple.
Indeed. And, if you go to chargehillaryclinton.com, if you want to sign the petition that we're going to send to the president, telling him to order the attorney general to impanel this grand jury and do what the president pledged to do in the campaign.
And by the way, that is a good-looking pinstripe suit.
Why, thank you very much.
And, of course, you pointed out, I should for them, the media's been saying you dress like the Riddler. He has patches on, little question marks. That's the Joker, actually.
Yeah, exactly. I dress like the Joker, not the Riddler. How insulting. That's really insulting.
Well, let's just be honest. What is my style? Kind of German farmhand. This is just some guy going to Baptist church on Sunday.
This is a pure Austin. You got the Austin, Texas thing going on.
I got a 20-inch neck, so you got a big neck too. It's hard to get the tie around the neck.
Hey, you know what works for me? It would not necessarily work for you. If you dress like this, you'd look ridiculous.
That's Joker purple, though.
It is. That's why I wore it.
So I'm guessing, I know you've read the article, they said you're the Riddler. And
You know, when I was at the Nixon Library commencement dinner, I sat next to Cesar Romero, and I couldn't think of anything to say. So I said to him, you know, Mr. Romero, you were the greatest joker of all time. I mean, Jack Nicholson, he was terrible. These other guys, they couldn't hold a candle to you. And he said, you know, son, people tell me that every single day. He was a great man, Cesar Romero, a conservative Republican, a true believing patriot, and one of the biggest movie stars of the 1930s.
absolutely. All right. I'm going to come back and get into the waterfront here. It's just, for me, I got really angry earlier, then I got in a good mood. It tends to go that way. Just that it's all over the news that he talked about the laptop bombs. That was all over the news. He's the president. He's allowed to do that. He released it 2 months ago when he was allowed to. When they were pointing out, oh, you got this Navy SEAL killed, this horrible traitor. No, we got intel on their next plans, on their bomb-making factories. And now it's been confirmed that they've been trying to do that. It's in ISIS training videos. It's in ISIS training videos. It's in hundreds of news articles. He talks about it with the Russians, and he's a traitor. The Washington Post should get in big trouble with some cultural agency. You know, they should pay for what they've done.
There he is, Cesar Romero.
I mean, seriously, it's just the arrogance.
Well, but in this particular case, the president was already angry at the Washington Post. Now I guarantee you he is furious. They were the worst in the election in terms of...
The Washington Post, I don't mean to be gross, but they're like monkeys at the zoo that just grab stuff and throw it. I mean, they are just making stuff up. Roger Stone, StoneColdTruth.com, Alex Jones, Infowars.com. Stay with us. I got a PJW piece.
We're on the march.
Coming up.
The Empire's on
At the start of this segment. Stay with us.
Nazi. And look at these courageous anti-fascists. What's his sign say? Must be something horrible, right? A swastika? Gas the Jews? Heil Hitler? The right to openly discuss ideas must be defended. All right, turns out you guys are behaving like actual Nazis. Yeah, little tip, fellas. The good guys don't normally wear black masks covering their faces.
Have you noticed that our caps have actually got little pictures of skulls on them?
I don't,
Hands. Are we the baddies?
I'm still here. I'm still here and I'm still standing up for open discussion.
Why are you defending it? No Nazis! No Nazis! Shame on you! You're shame on you! No platform for racism, no platform for homophobia. This is all Barack. Little fascist. Yeah, fascist.
Yeah, little history lesson, love. Those Nazis that you hate so much. Funny coincidence, because it turns out they were into using intimidation to shut down free speech. You know, exactly like you're doing to this guy.
Nazi! Nazi! Nazi!
I believe in open discussion.
No platform, no Nazis! No platform for white supremacy! No platform! Shame on you! Shame on you!
Look at you, white man! A white male! We try to intimidate people out of speaking based on their skin colour because we're anti-racists.
A platform for hate!
May I respond?
No, I'm not interested.
I believe in open
I don't
discussion.
care what you believe. I believe no Nazis.
I don't care what you believe, I'm just going to keep repeating the word Nazi over and over again because I'm functionally retarded and don't have an actual argument.
Nazi! Everyone just cover him. Just cover him.
Everyone just cover him, then we won't have to collectively activate our 6 brain cells to have an actual discussion. Hey, where the hell did Jeremy Corbyn come from? You're not welcome here. We're tolerant progressives.
You're not welcome here. They are socially conscious citizens and are provoked by the loathsome presence of an unmutual.
They are sheep.
I mean, we literally employ the tactics of actual fascists, but we're so dumb that if we feign enough righteous indignation, we can delude ourselves into thinking we have the moral high ground.
You
are not welcome here.
Welcome.
Go away. Go away.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Go away.
Excuse me.
Go away.
Go away.
Go away.
Go away.
Stop off our street! Nazi scum off our street! Nazi scum off our street!
Nazi scum off our streets! Nazi that actually happened, the guy with the sign would be the only person left on the frigging street, because you're the actual Nazis.
Are we the baddies?
Now, if you're a radio listener, and we'll put the YouTube video up on screen so I can tell radio listeners how they can find it, and you just heard that. It's powerful, but not as powerful as actually seeing it. You've got a polite, nice man standing on a street in London, close to Downing Street, where people like to protest, holding up a sign saying that we should support the right of free speech. And people come over and actually start assaulting him, screaming, Nazi scum, no, we don't allow free speech. And I've been close to 10 Downing Street, also, though, by Parliament. The left doesn't let you protest or demonstrate or even hold up newspaper articles. They run things. They're the god. They're the boss. And now they're not the left. These are like brainwashed people that are delusional and believe they're the savior. They're the good guys. And then at the end, they actually start assaulting him and grab his sign away, and the police are all around and allow it. And I have stacks of news articles where Muslims in the UK sexually assault women, and the police covered it up. In some cases, little girls by the thousands per town, it's come out. And then they just say, none of this is happening, it doesn't exist, Muslims never rape anybody, Muslims never kill anybody, Muslims never run over anybody, they never shoot anybody. And it's so frustrating that this is the group we're not supposed to talk about. Now, Dr. Group, my good buddy, one of the top formulators at InfoWarsLife.com, is with us to announce the big launch of an amazing new product today that will also intersperse with the news here, and how much heavy metals there are, how many toxins out there, and things that are known to help detoxify the body. But we're going to cover the waterfront here politically, what's happening with Trump. The new product is Z-Shield, toxic metal and chemical support defense. And we're going to talk about what Shilajit does, what the concentrated zeolites do, what some of these other herbs and compounds do, and acids that are in it along with it, as we can fight back and also support the operation, but fight back in your own life. And he's got a whole stack of articles about the toxicity and what's happening. We're going to be discussing that for a few minutes here and then plunging back into news. But then I look at stories here. We could have been Canada. Why the American Revolution might have been a bad idea. And so the people claiming Trump's an enemy, patriots are an enemy, people that want sovereignty are enemies, we're the foreign agents because we want a country, when they're the foreign globalist agents that are dissolving the nation states as we know it. And now you have this whole fake controversy, if you just join us with Trump, where the news is still going along like, is it real, isn't it real? McMaster says it's not real. They had the Yemen raid back on the 29th of January of this year, 5 months ago, and they got the bomb maker data. They're trying to disguise bombs and batteries of laptops, plastic explosives, and then you tell the public that so they know about the threat. The president can declassify what he wants. That was months ago. It came out in April and March. They got the intel in late January. And then they just lie and say he's with the Russians. He gave them secret documents because he just discussed the threat with them, which has been all over the news. We've reached a new level, Dr. Group. What do you make of all this?
It's just lies, 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 and more lies. And it seems like, right now, we've talked like years ago about all the attacks, and what I look at is the attacks on healthcare, the attacks on the American public, the attacks on the earth, the addition of all the chemicals that are being sprayed on us, that are in the food or in the water, that are really, to me, when I look at all the problems that we're dealing with out there, and then you look at the hardcore left Democratic Party right now, I would have never imagined that people could be so evil in their attack on the president of the United States. I mean, the way I look at it is free speech is the only way that we get things done. It's we the people. Think about the organic movement. Think about the GMO movement. Think about getting fluoride out of the water. I mean, in Europe, half of this stuff is banned already. Over here in the United States, we have 84,000 unregulated cancer, endocrine disrupting, IQ disrupting chemicals, to where children now in certain cities where the pollution is very high, on tests, they're put up against another 8-year-old to draw stick figures, and they can't even draw a stick figure because their brain
are plunging. Cancer is exploding.
Messed up.
And the same people selling us this agenda say everything's fine, everything's wonderful, everything's good. No, it's not. New big studies out that unvaccinated children are way healthier than vaccinated.
So now you can type in Google fluoride and go to the news section. You're going to find news articles on the dangers of fluoride. You can go and type in BPA. You can type endocrine disrupting chemicals. You can type in.
And that's why they're scared of free press, because we are defeating the globalists. We're exposing their entire medical tyranny program, their finance program, the rigged global markets. They are so upset that humanity is waking up right now, Dr. Group, and that's why they want the censorship.
Right. That's why they want the censorship. That's why they want to keep the truth from you, when the truth is what's going to set you free, which is what I've been saying, and how simple it really is when you look at the root cause of what we're dealing with. I mean, you have 9 out of 10 people, Alex, and even 1 out of 2 black children now will develop diabetes. 1 out of 3 children, white, will develop diabetes. You have all of these things linked to toxic chemicals in the air, food, and water, and nothing is being done about that.
And now the media, when we came out, which is sold out, I hope more comes in, Myco-ZX, the antifungal probiotic, that basically shut that down. Like, oh my God, they say there's this fungus epidemic, then they have the solution. Yeah, like there's bad water, we sell high-quality water filters. Yes, that's what we do. It's called free market. We sell what's good, but there's a market for it to fund our operation to promote more freedom. Absolutely. Wow, what rocket scientist at the MSM saying that we're promoting probiotics and things that are well-documented. They're saying we're total kooks, but it's well known that Shilajit, it's well known that zeolites and what you have in the new product from InfoWarsLife.com, Z-Shield, is good to pull garbage out of the body, but they just sit there and make this huge joke out of it as our support just goes up and up and up and up, and we totally change the paradigm model of people funding their own media systems, not from outside sponsors that can control them, but with direct sales. You know, like selling a Trump Pence shirt for $4.95 at cost. I want to promote free speech. And we sold thousands of those yesterday. They can't stand the fact that we're out here waking people up, we're out here taking action, and that we're absolutely, unapologetic about what we're doing. So they play these games like there aren't any problems. You shouldn't filter your water. You should eat GMO. You should eat trans fats. And I don't claim to be on the high horse here, about stuff. I don't claim to have all the answers. I don't claim to be the most healthy person around. I'm trying to be healthier, and I've gotten healthier. But let's expand on that. We're coming out soon with a big organic line of shampoo and other personal care products that's a big national brand in Whole Foods, one of the biggest, who are patriots, who are letting us private label it. Now think about this. Are they going to call it snake shampoo or snake sunscreen or snake body wash or snake mouthwash? We're coming out with a 10-to-1 mouthwash that is a national brand, that's organic, that we're able to private label, that is the same as a price of normal mouthwash. It's 10-to-1 concentrate, and it's the same price. That's 10 times cheaper than the competitor, just because we cut out all the scams. They'll probably call it Snake Wash. I'm even thinking of calling the brand Snake Brand. Because next it'll be, he sells snake water filters. He sells snake shirts. He sells snake videos about the dangers of GMO. He has a show that points out they're lying about Trump and showing the actual news articles where they reported the laptop bombs 2-3 months ago. No, we're not snakes. We're the opposite of the snakes. The mainstream media are the snakes. So let's get it. When I have you, we never plug, and you're the expert on this. You developed this over several years. Z-Shield, it's concentrated. Tell us what it does.
So that's the reason why more and more people are starting to go online and starting to listen to you, Alex, because we have hundreds of thousands of reviews. Most of them we can't even post online because people getting better, people are waking up. When you look at the amount of chlorine that people ingest, the bromine, the fluoride, the
chlorine kills fish,
the calcified pineal glands, the polybrominated compounds that are everywhere. I'm excited about Z-Shield. I'm excited about all the products because I know that our main goal is to help people. And the reason why I chose the ingredients in Z-Shield was designed not only to bond to the harmful chemicals that we're exposed to. It's a fact that we know the cause of disease is that too many chemicals are coming into our body every single day and not enough chemicals are getting out of our body every single day. Why is that? We're not urinating enough. We're not defecating enough. We're not sweating enough. And we're not respirating enough. And women's menstrual cycles are messed up. Those are our natural ways that we eliminate chemicals and toxins. I put the shilajit in there, which is a black, almost decomposed humic fulvic acid from the Himalayas, where you have to actually go up into the mountains and harvest that by hand. All of these ingredients are chosen from different areas of the world. The zeolites, which have been known, we actually have a unique process of sterilizing zeolites before we put them in there. And the zeolites are known to capture some of these compounds, these chemicals that are being found. Especially, there's over 200 of these chemicals found in umbilical cord blood from pregnant women. So we know for a fact that we are being bombarded with all these chemicals. So what I wanted to do with the Z-Shield was put together things like the lovage root, or the lovage, which is designed to take care of a different spectrum of chemicals in the body. Then we put the cleavers in there. The cleavers is designed to push and to support the lymphatic system.
And by the way, there's no reviews on this because it just came out today.
Yeah.
But you've taken a lot of known compounds, and you're explaining this to me a year ago when you were trying to develop this, and concentrated them together, totally organic, tested, amazingly clean, highest quality. And I forgot, I should have said this last hour, 25% off out of the gates. We want people to have this. Now, how often do you take it before you get back into the other stuff that's in it?
Well, I mean, I personally, with all the research that we've done, I would take it every other day or every day. And we have so many people that call in and say, listen, you and Alex talk about fluoride. You talk about chlorine. You talk about endocrine disrupting chemicals. You talk about the plastic residue. You talk about all of the heavy metals that we're exposed to every single day.
And X2 does a lot to block that going into certain glands, but not everything. What does this do?
And that's why we wanted to develop something that was more targeted, that, you know, listen, you can't live in a bubble anymore. I mean, we're going to be breathing the air. We're going to be eating the food. I mean, yes, we want you to eat organic. Yes, that's why we've been big proponents of detoxification and iodine.
But it's good to do detoxification on top of it.
But
clean water, better food. So what is the shilajit? What is the zeolites? What are the other compounds, I interrupt you, that are in here? What do they do?
All of the compounds are designed to support the liver detoxification, which is the milk thistle in there.
That's racist.
The cleavers in there, which is designed for the lymphatic system, so you can push this out, and all of the other herbs like the cilantro and the fulvic and humic blend, which are designed to grab and hold on to different types of chemical compounds in the blood. I mean, look, they had an article in Houston that just came out about the hexavalent chromium in the water supplies all over the United States. It's a fact, and we know that we are bombarded with toxic chemicals every single day.
Well, last time you were here, you showed a bunch of mainstream news articles about how mold and fungus is mutating and killing people all over the country. I know 3 people who have had family members, 2 of them are children, who got brain tumors where fungus just starts growing in the brain.
It's the tiny, you see, it's like the tiny.
But that's a gift of our Lord Obama. Oh, Lord me. I'm sorry.
No, it's the tiny exposure. I mean, some of these things in parts per billion, these pesticide residues like glyphosate.
But how is fungus suddenly growing in the brain?
I don't know exactly how and why it's happening.
What's changing? Is all the GMOs mutating?
It's got to be. That's just.
But the media said there's no fungus problem. There's no allergy problem.
We were ridiculed.
We just made it all up.
Yeah, we made it all up.
Hundreds of articles admitting that the funguses are killing people everywhere.
Right, and just last week, now it's coming out in the mainstream news that there's the Candida auris fungus, which we talked about a month ago when we broke it here on the InfoWars show, is now the big next Zika threat to the United States and to the world, and there's absolutely no pharmaceutical.
Well, I mean, most of the bats have died from the fungus.
And as a matter of fact, look at all the people on pharmaceutical drugs, which contain massive amounts of chemicals that they're poisoning their body with.
Yeah, but why is the fungus getting so much more powerful? We'll be right back, Dr. Group. All right, I'm going to open the phones up to talk to Dr. Group about politics, about what they're doing to Trump, about their attempt to say he gave the Russians secret evidence for talking about what's been in the news for almost 3 months, about the laptop bombs that ISIS and Al-Qaeda are trying to create, and the intel we gathered on that, and how he's wiping out ISIS. We have a partnership with Russia doing that. We can get into all these subjects. Seth Rich's death, and the private detective saying the police told him they've been ordered to cover it up or, quote, stand down. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. There's the headline, Family's Private Investigator there is evidence Seth Rich had contact with WikiLeaks prior to his death. Isn't that as interesting? And we have our affiliates who are great stations all over the country that have advertising groups that have never called them, calling up saying, we want to advertise on these other shows, but we want Alex Jones off. Most of our stations are actually expanding us because of that. They understand how much this country is under attack. But some stations are taking the money, and that's fine. This is America. If you decide you want to do that with George Soros or the globalist, then you've made your bed. It's the listeners, though, who need to support us and spread the word on the local stations you're listening to and supporting those local affiliates or becoming sponsors or just sending them $100 a month because it costs money to run radio stations. And also buy our products. We're selling Trump is my president shirts. They're excellent navy blue shirts. You meet like-minded people. It spreads the word. It stands up against bullies at cost because I want to flood the planet with them at InfoWarsStore.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. But the good news is we have more affiliates now than we've ever had, and a lot of new stations are picking up the show. Not just our classic stations in New York and Chicago and places like that in L.A. So again, thank you all for your support. Thank you for your prayers. And we have the new product to detoxify the body, Z-Shield, toxic metal and chemical defense support, available now at InfoWarsLife.com. 25% off out of the gates. I hope you check it out today. It goes really well with X2, the good halogen, and more. But more importantly than everything, just pray for us. And please spread the word about our articles, our videos, and Infowars.com because they're really trying to shut us down right now because globalism is so unpopular. It's so ridiculous. They don't want us on air. They don't want Drudge being out there either. You know, covering the fact that Trump was only covering what was already in the news. They want to just put lies out and not have anybody there to challenge them. Well, we're challenging them. You're challenging them. We're doing all this together. Back to Dr. Group.
Oh, you're absolutely right on that. I mean, it's been a long challenge for years and years, and it just comes back down to simplicity. We just really want to help people. That's been my whole mission, and I've just identified all of the problems or the situations that people are dealing with. It's very sad it's sad and gratifying. It's sad to know that how many people out there are suffering, how bad the healthcare system really is right now around the world, how the governmental officials and the people in charge don't want to address the root cause of the problem.
And we're pointing this out not to be negative, but to fix it.
Sign an executive order banning the 980 cancer-causing chemicals that are out there. Sign an executive order banning aspartame. Sign an executive order banning fluoride in the water. I mean, let's address the root cause.
Instead, they had to sign executive orders to legalize aspartame, something Reagan did that was bad. He also created the Vaccine Damage Fund because he didn't know any better. He was taking the flu shots. It was brain damage as well.
That's another big topic that's been in the news lately. I mean, we the people.
By the way, I'm going to stop you there because I want to come back and cover this and take calls. 800-25-99-231. Let's pull them up since we mentioned it. Major journal pediatrics. It was so many I couldn't cover it. Huge studies coming out that vaccinated children are much more unhealthy and have lower IQs. We're totally vindicated. They finally did the human studies. They finally did because they won't look at the animals.
I don't know if you heard about the Boston Herald study that came out, and they basically said to hang and kill everybody that's a vaccine.
I did see that. In fact, Owen Schroyer covered that. In fact, let's pull that up. Boston Herald, hang people that don't take vaccines. See, they're really getting pushy. They're really getting pushy.